So, if you don't mind, I'd like to open with a note that I wrote, a handwritten note that from July 14th, 2025, so this year. And I am reading it, but this is also meant to serve as an opening prayer because it's a reminder for, I think, for all of us. So, dear Ron, congratulations on a long and fruitful career. I believe God brought me to your area on business travel to give you this card. While I sincerely believe there are actions you can take in the next 3 weeks that would lead to greater flourishing for you and others, the details of my opinions and discernment are well documented. It is more fruitful to focus on affirming your heart for Christ's church and sincere belief in the vital kingdom work done by local, conservative, Bible based, and evangelical congregations. As you and your wife enter the next chapter, Kai and I will continue to pray for all who have been hurt and confused by events over the last 2 years, acknowledging and understanding that our actions, though intended to bring truth, were executed imperfectly and did likely have that impact on you. In that light, we will do our very best to respect and affirm your status as retired starting next month. Wishing you and your family God's best, and please always feel free to reach out if you have a burden for the circumstances under which we connected. Happy to process and bear that with you. Much love in Christ, Grant H. Means. And this was a note I purchased as well, and it said, wishing you nothing but happiness in your new chapter. And then I sort of added love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. Obviously, the fruit of the Spirit. So I thought that was there's so much there, and by the way, that a lot of that was a prayer for a good retirement, and continued prayers for people who have been hurt, including folks in the Four Cs, etc. So part of the reason I start with that, it was kind of remarkable. I was on business travel, and it happened to take me within just a few minutes of the Four Cs headquarters, right before I thought Ron was going to retire. I didn't realize he was going to be not be completely gone from the Four Cs until the end of this year. And so it just felt like, wow, I definitely need to try to, you know, reach out in a way that's not related to these matters. And of course, the matters under which you all have seen these videos did come up. I didn't bring them up, but I think it's just important to level set that I don't have any personal animosity. I actually really haven't been hurt to any major degree by anybody against whom against who, and actually not against whom. That's a Freudian slip, but against whose actions I have spoken, and I actually I simply want to ensure that as we continue to wade through the other side of some confusing and complicated events, that we're able to do so with an understanding that, hey, this is mostly meant to be almost like we could call it a battle of ideas, or a searching for something outside of ourselves, searching for whatever truth exists outside of ourselves, and is not meant to directly attack a particular person. And so to the extent I've done that, I do apologize, and sincerely want to, offer any sort of, if there's any sort of desire to connect, or, if I've stated anything that's incorrect, happy to issue a correction. And so, please, there's very little core of animosity in my heart for anybody, and even what animosity I have is not all of it is actually very little of it would be related to this. So with that said, I do think it's, again, there's I think it's important to get to the crux of, well, why would I continue to send fruitless videos? And I think it gets right down to, at the end of the day, my assumption is that everybody's well-meaning. Everybody here is well-meaning. Um, top to bottom, leadership, lay people, everybody. And any unjust actions might are probably or should stem from lack of access to information, distortion of information, potential self-deception, and that could easily be on my part. And if so, I want to be corrected. I think I've asked for that each time I've sent out a series of videos. Um, but I do think that we can't necessarily, I can't necessarily assume that that's the case after the events that we've seen and the shape that they've taken. So, with that said, this was just a general level setting exercise, general level setting video. And I do want to get into a couple of essentially talking a little bit more about the institutional side of how things have played out. And then if perhaps a little bit more on the personal side. So just thinking, individual interactions or my own experiences. So I guarantee the one that's definitely coming, and then the former, and then the latter, we'll see. Okay, that's it for now. See you in a sec.